Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each of the episodes against each other. And today's episode is One Piece East Blue Saga Arlong Park Arc, Episode 43, The End of the Fishman Empire, Nami is My Friend. The episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened within this episode. So in this episode, we pick up where we left off in the last episode with Arlong and Luffy's fight leading them to Nami's old chart room where she had been forced to draw charts for the Arlong pirates as a child. And Arlong boasts about how Nami is his tool, and when Luffy asks how he views Nami, he basically says if all humans are sewer rats, she's an adorable cat, and that he will continue to feed her and buy her clothes she likes, and things to live happily so long as she continues to provide him with sea charts as his tool. And then he corrects himself to his friend. And Luffy, of course, sees a quill knocked to the ground that's covered in blood, showing just how excessively Nami has been used by the Fishmen pirates. And he becomes angry at this, says that he now knows how he can help Nami, and he then starts to basically destroy the sea charts and kick all of the furniture out of the room through the wall, starting with the desk, which falls slowly while Nami watches. Nami starts crying and thanks Luffy once he gets rid of all of the furniture from her past, basically erasing all of those years of work that she was forced to do for the pirates. Meanwhile, inside, Luffy and Arlong continue their fight. Arlong attacks Luffy with a drill attack, and then Luffy uses his battle axe to not only defeat Arlong, but also destabilize the entire building so that the entirety of Arlong Park Arc falls. There is a moment where we then see the audience holding their breath on whether Luffy survived or not, and then Luffy comes out and yells that Nami is his friend, and she says yes while she's crying again. And then basically everybody takes a moment to take in the fact that they have won, and they all start celebrating. Everybody is happy. Genzo flashes back to his memories of Arlong arriving and what the village had to go through, what Nami had to go through, before then Nezumi arrives, and Nezumi, the corrupt marine, comes in and is all like, ha ha ha, now the money that I was going to pay Arlong no longer has to be paid, and all of the treasures and money inside of Arlong Park is mine. Ha ha ha. And then basically Luffy and company and his crew beat Nezumi and the other Marines up. Nami comes over and basically strong arms him into giving up the money because that is the island's money and it's going to be used to rebuild Gosa Village, and also she tells Nezumi that he's going to actually do his job and help the people of the island now that Arlong is gone, and then also strong arms him into giving her money back, which he agrees to do, but as he swims off, he then says that big changes are coming for Luffy and how dare they beat him up and blah blah blah, basically talking big as he runs away. We then see at the very end of the episode Nezumi putting in a request to the Navy headquarters to put a bounty on Luffy's head. So now that we've been reminded about what happened in the episode, we'll now rank the episode. As always, we'll be ranking on the mostly objective ranking list, followed by the personal ranking list. On our mostly objective list, we have our single arc supporting character development, which is that Nezumi gets beaten up and then orders the bounty on Luffy's head, worth 1 point. Then we have 2 points for the single arc main character growth, and that is the Shark on Drill attack that Arlong uses at the end before being defeated. We then have another positive 2 for our resolved battle, which of course is the battle between Arlong and Luffy. which comes to an end in this episode. We have +3 for an impactful slash memorable moment slash line slash etc., which is the destruction of Nami's map room, as it is very meaningful to the character and it is symbolic in its nature, erasing her past or destroying her past so that she can move on unburdened into the future as one of their crew members. And then lastly, we have +4 for our multi-arc main character development, which has to do with Nami's flashbacks, where she attempted originally to try to make false charts, got caught out for it, ended up being knocked away by Arlong, then having made a drawing of Belmer, but because that wasn't a C chart, he felt that she was using the supplies for her own selfish uses, and he ended up ripping up the Belmer drawing. And of course, working on drawing maps late into the night until her fingers bled. And then we have a -2 points for negative messaging or behavior. And this, of course, is the general mistreatment of Nami as a child, obviously. And then, but that's by Arlong, who is a villain, so we usually don't necessarily take points for villainous behaviors by villains because they are meant to be villains engaging in villainous behaviors. But also, now, this is the objective list, so we take emotion out of it. So Nezumi, technically, he is a Marine. He is on the law enforcement side. He is meant to be a good person. He is an authority figure, and beating up authority figures is a bad idea. And the consequences of it, of course, are that he goes back and orders the bounty on Luffy. Now, on the emotional side, obviously, we like to see the corrupt authority figure getting beaten up and having his comeuppance and consequences to his actions. But as this is the objective list, objectively, not a good idea to beat up authority figures and should not be doing that. So I did take 2 points for that, but that still leaves us with 10 points, making it a 10 out of 10 episode. So that brings us to our arc ranking so far in the mostly objective ranking. And in first we have, oh, before I get into the actual list, brief reminder, when more than one episode has the same score, we order it in the episode, in the order the episodes aired in. So, first is the most wicked man of East Blue, Fishman Pirate Arlong. Luffy stands up, end of a broken promise. Proud tall warriors, dramatic battle of Sanji and Usopp. Bursting out, Fishman Arlong, fearsome attack from the sea. This episode came in 5th, the end of the Fishman Empire. Nami is my friend. Usopp's death, Luffy yet to land. Luffy drowning, Zoro vs. Octopus Hatchan. The Witch of Kokoyashi Village, Arlong's female officer. Survive the Mother Belmare and Nami's family. Luffy in trouble, Fishmen vs. Luffy pirates. Luffy's best, Nami's courage, and the Straw Hat. Reunited, Usopp tells Nami's true story. And then, so far in last place, we have the hidden past, female fighter Belmare. Now, as for my personal ranking of this episode, I decided to give it an 8 out of 10. There were some fun moments with the celebration, with Luffy breaking Arlong's nose, which he was very proud of, which he used as a weapon, which he thought was unbreakable, and yet Luffy managed to break it, which was an excellent moment for Luffy. And obviously the end of the battle, the dramatic falling of all of the building, Nezumi talking because he ran away was funny. The very fact that he ended up capitulating to everything that Nami wanted because he ended up being beaten up was good, and basically she had to strong arm him into doing what he should have already been doing. And of course, Luffy's getting his bounty. It's not official yet. Nezumi just put the request in, but that lets us know it's coming. And we resolve the main storyline for this arc, which of course is Arlong, who has held the island hostage with his strength and power, now being defeated, freeing the village of Kokoyashi Village, and then also all of the other surrounding villages on the island, and everybody getting to celebrate that. The reason I didn't personally give it a 10 is that I did feel that there were some pacing issues. For example, when Luffy is destroying the room that Nami worked in, the first thing he kicks out is a desk, and that thing fell for so long. And I understand that that's the trigger for the flashback, but they kept going back to it over and over. Like, it took a year to fall. That thing just kept falling. And honestly, I get that it's important imagery, but again, they could have shown it like a couple times. You know, its initial falling. We then see Nami watching it, the flashback, and then see it land or something. But they just kept going back to it falling in slow motion over and over and over. And I'm like, this is taking up way too much time. Once the fight ended, there was like it took a moment for them to realize, and there was, waiting for Luffy to come up took, like, it was just feeling a little bit slow. Even like the redoing of yet more flashbacks, especially since the ones Genzo did were like ones that we'd already seen before. I felt like the pacing was a little off. It just felt a little slow at times, and it kind of disengaged me personally as a viewer. And since it's the personal list, how I felt about it is where the score comes from. So I also got a little bit of secondhand embarrassment because I'm like, why do you have to yell that Nami is your friend? I think everybody by now knows that. But that's a me thing because I don't like public displays very much of, public displays of strong emotion give me secondhand embarrassment. So this also did that, which is why, again, I gave it an 8, not a 10. With that being said, on the personal rankings, um, in first place, we had Luffy Stands Up, End of a Broken Promise, Proud Tall Warriors, Dramatic Battle of Sanji and Usopp, Luffy Drowning, Zoro vs. Octopus Hatchan. This episode I did put in fourth, The End of the Fishman Empire, Nami is My Friend, Luffy in Trouble, Fishmen vs. Luffy Pirates, The Most Wicked Man of East Blue, Fishman Pirate Arlong, Usopp's Death, Luffy Yet to Land, Reunited, Usopp tells Nami's true story, Survive, the Mother Bell Mare and Nami's family, Bursting Out, Fishman, Arlong, Fearsome Attack from the Sea, The Witch of Kokoyashi Village, Arlong's female officer, The Hidden Past, female fighter Bellmare, and then so far in last place for myself is Luffy's Best, Nami's Courage, and The Straw Hat. And this arc has a lot of really long titles. Actually, this series has a lot of really long titles. Which now brings us to the saga ranking so far, which is where we will be ranking each of the arcs against each other within the saga. And starting on our mostly objective ranking, we have Romance Dawn arc in first place with 86.67%, Orange Town second at 76%, Baretti arc is in third with 68.33%, Syrup Village arc is at 64%, and then Arlong Park arc so far has 102 out of a possible 150. On the personal ranking side, Orange Town arc is in first place with 74%, Romance Dawn arc in second at 66.67%, Baretti arc is in third, 52.5%, and Syrup Village arc is in last place so far at 49%. The Arlong Park arc currently has a score of 95 out of a possible 150. Bringing us now to the series ranking so far, and this is where we will be ranking each of the sagas against each other. And East Blue Saga currently has a score of 25 out of 80, and that's on the mostly objective ranking. Then on the personal ranking, a score of 14 out of 80. But with that, we've now rewatched and ranked One Piece East Blue Saga Arlong Park Arc Episode 43, The End of the Fishman Empire, Nami is My Friend. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.